What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some Raid Shadow Legends, and it's Friday, so of course we're going to jump into our free-to-play Friday episode here. It's been a pretty busy week in Raid. I personally have not had a lot of time to put out any content this week. I've been really busy at work, been going through some lifestyle changes, going to bed a little bit earlier, so not as much time to play. And just going through a few things, but definitely want to make sure we get in our Friday episode. A lot of stuff going on in the game right now we're going to talk about. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff going on right up here at the portal because there are several different events going on this weekend. You do have the 10X that's going on right now for a couple of different champions. You've got Mashalad, you've got Noble, Elder Skarg. I think this guy's name is Leoris, Phallus Grave Dirt. I think that's Canelia, Mass Fearmonger, and Inquisitor Shamal. So some interesting champions in this 10X. I generally do not pull on 10Xs unless it's Void Legendaries, and I'm really looking for a certain one because you have a very, very bad chance of actually pulling any of these Legendaries. I believe it's like you'd have to pull close to 1,000 shards just to have like a 30% chance to get one of them. It's just really terrible odds on the 10X. It's usually not worth pulling unless you do have a lot of shards or it's a void legendary that you're specifically going for. So not really interested in that. We do also have a 30 voids for a guaranteed Madame Serris. It's kind of an interesting one here because Madame is a pretty amazing champion. And if you do have 30 void shards, I actually would probably go for her if you don't have her already. Even if you might have to buy a pack, if you have some decent deals in the shop, she might be worth it because she is actually an account-changing champion, especially in the arena. If you don't have her and you're looking for buff strip, defense down, attack down type champion, she can do a whole lot of that. You can see here we're working on saving up some shards. We got 25 ancients built up since the last Ancient 2X. We said we were going to start saving up our mystery shards so that if there's another fusion event and we need to pull a couple thousand, hopefully we'll have it this time so we won't miss out like we did on Demithia. We do have 8 voids, so we have Void 2X coming up next weekend. Hopefully we can get a couple more of those to drop from the clan boss and get some good luck there and pull some good void epics and see how that goes. And then the other thing they're doing right now is they do have the Fragment event going on where you can get the old fragments from some of the old fusion champions. So they're going to be doing fragments for like Yoshi, Elgato, Strackle. It started today already, so I believe the ones they're offering right now are for Ruel, Rorik, and I think Versolf is the other one that are being offered right now. So I actually have got all those champions finished through the fusion, so there's really not much of a reason for me to really push those. Plus, it's specific champions you have to use in those tournaments, which is really kind of annoying. I hate that Plarium does that, especially when they're trying to let people get fragments. And then I did start buying the Huntress and Bloodhorn fragments from the Bazaar. Somebody in comments mentioned that, and I was like, yeah, that's probably a pretty good idea because I had already finished getting Drexlar, so another good thing I can get those, and then when we have an event, I'll be able to pull those to get some points. And plus, I actually don't have Broadmon. I think with the way my Lizardmen are on this account, probably going to be worth getting him. Just to go ahead and get a Reviver in the Lizardmen faction. You can see we actually have already finished off our Ballester. And, God, what's this guy's name? Is it Stone Skin? I can't remember. Let's see if will it show me? Nah, I guess not. Alright, so that's kind of where we are. I need to pull some shards today. Let's just go ahead and yank 10 greens. And go ahead and finish up that daily quest. Nothing too crazy there. Let's see what we got in the market. Nothing I really want to spell. There we go. There's a cheap one there. Go ahead and grab her. So yeah, so you've got these tournaments over here, and it's basically, I think it's Dragon today, but you can only do Dragon with like epic champions. Yeah, using epic champions only, but you can see here that they are giving away 15 shards. So that's the other thing too. It's not a lot of shards that you're going to be able to get of these champions. So if you missed out, 15 may or may not help you unless you were very close. And then if you win the tournament, you actually get an extra 5 of each, which is interesting. So I'm sure the people that are really pushing for those will wind up being up top. You see we have 0 because, like I said, I've already got all 3 of these guys. So really no point in us pushing that. There's a Fire Knight tournament going on right now. Classic Arena takedown. Actually, I think I'm in first place on this. or at least I was earlier. Yeah, we got a pretty decent lead. I've been pushing a lot of arena lately. Just trying to get the Great Hall worked on because we do have a lot of stuff we still got to do. So we're up to 737 medals. Probably maybe go for force accuracy since we did just get Rosin. And we're going to be using him in Clan Boss. We'll make sure he can land those debuffs. But yeah, it's coming along. You know, we're getting some good headway there. But I did mention Madame Serris. I've actually been using her in arena. I just finally started working on her the other day. She's still at 5-star. But this is kind of the cool thing with her, like this, just with the perception gear, and this is why it's so important to do faction wars, to get the parts so that you can make the perception set. This is the perception gear we've got on her, and you can see, not even leveled up to 50 yet, she's got 354 accuracy, which is pretty decent for most of lower end of gold 4. That'll certainly work. I've got her 220 speed, and then we don't even have a banner on her yet. We don't have a necklace yet. And then once we are able to finish her masteries and get Eagle Eye on her, we'll probably be able to get her with a banner probably pretty close or over 500 accuracy, which is going to be pretty awesome, especially on a free-to-play account with, you know, just kind of getting the gear that we made. We got lucky here, got a quad speed roll on our accuracy chest. We threw crit damage gauntlets on her just because it had accuracy and some speed, and anything you can get with an accuracy extra bonus roll on perception is really, really good. We've got 6-star, you know, speed boots with accuracy roll from perception set. Got another one here that only hit accuracy once, but still that's pretty good with a glyph, you know, not too bad. Plus you're getting that extra bonus accuracy out of the set to begin with. And the rare pieces aren't great. They just had some decent accuracy and speed on them. So, and that's the other thing too. The gear is not amazing, and we're still able to get her into a position where she works pretty well. We've dropped her in for War Maiden, who is our decreased defense. So we kind of overkill on the buff strip because we've got Kymar and we've got Madame Serris. But it's actually not bad because Kymar does get resisted because I don't really think I had the best gear for him. So his accuracy is only like 186, even though he does have, I think he's in accuracy. No, he's in an HP chest. Okay. So we just kind of threw what we could on him to make him fast. You can see here, he's actually, I think, my fastest champion on the account at 273. So we're getting into the upper end of gold 4 now where it's kind of tough to keep up. We just don't have the speed gear on the account. Plus we do have Arbiter now. So I kind of have a lot of things I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do on this account now, because part of me is thinking we give Kymar's speed gear to Arbiter and put her in as our arena lead. And then I had one idea where it's like, do we go ahead and put Kymar into our spider team, because we have 2 cold hearts, we have the HP burn with Sissia, and it's like, do we do the, you know, Heartseeker, HP burn, full reset, do it again strategy and try to go for a really fast Spider 20 farm. The other option I have there is with the Royal Guard that we pulled. We have a Royal Guard and 2 Cold Hearts, and then I do have a Ragnar Gold Gleam. So the thing you could do with Ragnar is actually go in and do your Gleam of Avarice as the first attack, and he'll put the weaken and the decreased defense. And then you have your nukers go one after another, and they can usually take out the Spider. But I don't know if we'll have the good enough gear to do Royal Guard, 2 Cold Hearts with their big damage. I don't know if it'll be enough to kill the Spider. We could maybe put Sissia in at the very end of that, so her HP burn nuke would take care of it. So got a lot of interesting options we could pursue. The other problem here is that he's not booked. So once this is booked, it's a 100% chance, and we kind of really, really want that if we're going to be trying to go for a Spider farm. But we got to kind of figure out how we're going to do that. I may just go for the HP burn strategy because Sissia is almost finished. We've got her masteries. Yeah, we're working on the masteries. I think she still needs books though. That's really the problem on a free-to-play account, especially with legendaries. But I think she'll be okay without books just for what we need her to do. So that's kind of what we're working on. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think we did. Yeah, we finally did pull an apothecary, which is pretty funny. It's been over a year on the account. We finally pulled an apothecary. I've been working on a metal shaper, mainly just for faction wars, because we mentioned that a couple episodes ago. I think that we're just going to start working on faction wars now, getting some of these champions leveled up and ready to go. And so we do actually have a couple 2 stars here. We can go ahead and bring this guy up. I'm actually starting to create some food, so we have some extra food for the events that are coming up next week. So we do have the new Halloween fusion. It's going to be the Vlad Night Stalker, or whatever his name is, the vampire guy, who's looks kind of interesting. But we're mainly just leveling up food right now, trying to bring some champions up, hoarding some resources so we can see if we're going to be able to get the new fusion, because the new fusion guy is actually a fragment fusion, so we will have a chance to pick him up there. See if we got any gear we can just throw a couple levels on to get our quest finished for the day. But let me know down below, guys. Are you going to go after the new fusion? He is a void legendary, which is interesting. So he's a fragment fusion for a void legendary, which I don't think they've done that before. Not for a void. I don't know. Let's see if I'm not sure if they've actually posted. Yeah, they haven't posted anything about his. This is just for the stuff that's coming up here. Everything you'll be able. You get Iron Brago, all the different shards you'll be able to get. But like I said, we're not really, you know, in a position where we can really get any of those champions on this account. So, again, that's going to kind of be a big miss for us here. All right, so we got 7 campaign battles, 50 energy. See what our advanced are today. Pretty much the same old. We've got faction war boss, 1 affinity potion, 1 resilience artifact. Okay, we can do that real quick. I've been saving up some crafting materials here, mainly for clan versus clan, which is coming up next week. That's a good way to get some points, is to just craft all your gear and sell most of the trash stuff, so that you can get some silver out of it at least. Attack HP, yeah, not really interested in that, so we'll get rid of that. Let's mix up an affinity potion real quick here. Just doing a little farming today because it's force and also for arcane. So we can kind of start building up some of these bigger potions. We've got a lot of champions that we've got to ascend and just work on, so it's all work in progress like everything else. Okay, 3 artifacts from dungeons. Faction war boss tag team with a single faction. Okay, that's fun. Alright, let's see. Let's go into 12.3. We'll just run a couple. You can see here, work on a Horfreeze as well. So again, we're just trying to build up some champions for faction wars. I think we're just over 500 stars, and we're not, obviously, probably not going to be able to get through that before they open up Shadowkin, but we now know that Shadowkin's probably not going to open up until January of next year. So there's, you know, I want to make as much progress as I can over the next couple of months. So faction wars and trying to get a good quick spider farm opened up is going to be our 2 big goals here. Being able to get a good spider farm going is going to be really important, because then we can just start grinding out silver. And that was one of the areas where my main account really took off, was once I could get my spider team, even just on spider 20, just able to farm it like within, you know, 10-20 seconds. It's like you can sit there and in like 20-30 minutes just make a couple million silver. It's just absolutely awesome. So we got a lot of champions that need gear. We got a lot of gear that we need to level up. So that's going to be nice if we can get that going. We have the champions to do it. It's just a matter of building them. So much to work on, as usual. We're going to have a setter here. We're going to try to use him for Skinwalker, since he's got so much turn meter potential with his A2. I don't know if I'm going to take him to 6 stars in this account or not. Probably try to do it with him at 5. I did take him to 6 on my main account, and he was like just absolutely amazing on Faction War 21 for Skinwalkers. He's got a speed down on his A1, and then his A2 is a 4-hitter. It's usually a 4-hitter at random, which is why it's not so great on normal mobs. But if you're going up against the boss, he's going to hit all 4 of those hits on the boss, and it could really just absolutely destroy their turn meter, which is good on Skinwalker 21, since you have the damage race, 12 turn damage race before they like fully heal again, so he can keep that turn meter down and let your damage dealers go to work. Also got a Saurus in the wings I'm trying to build so we can get this down to this actually 6 seconds was with Kale. He just got lucky, he hit a whole bunch of cooldown resets from his masteries, but that's not something we can repeat often. But once we get we're going to try to build a Saurus to be able to farm 12.3, so that'll make things a little bit easier. Whenever we have champion training. But, you know, that's kind of the nice thing about this account, though. I've actually been playing this free-to-play account more than my main account recently, just because there's so much to do on it. And you get a decent amount of energy now every day, 500 or so energy, I think. A little bit more than that, but you know, you can spend a good amount of time Just going through and doing whatever you need to do. I need to take like a whole week and just farm Minotaur though for a couple of different champions. It's just, you know, it's like everything else. It's like, what do we do tonight? Do we do potions? Do we do Minotaur scrolls? Do we do gear? Do we farm dragon? You know, just always a lot to do. I know a lot of people have been quitting the game recently because it's just so time consuming, and I get it. I try not to let it get to me too much. I've actually cut down a lot of my playtime. My main account mainly. It's just like I kind of log in. I do my I'll do my dailies every day, and that's the nice thing about I have my 9-second spider farm. I can just queue up 45 auto battles, and they're done pretty much in no time. And then I just move on to whatever else I'm working on. So my main account's pretty much at the point where I don't really have a lot to do. I'm able to get the fusions done pretty much automatically now. I have enough resources saved up, and I mainly just use that account to build champions when I want to show them off or do some stuff there. You got to start working on Sigma and the High Shield, and then we'll have the new vampire guy next week, which I'll probably get him just because it's going to be easy on my main. But the guy's kit looks pretty underwhelming, but I'm guessing what they're doing with a lot of these mechanics we're seeing lately, you kind of have to remember when they did the Elgato fusion. It was right before Doom Tower came out, and I know a lot of people were really like, oh, it's going to be a trash champion. And, you know, there were some people that were testing it, and they put her in like Savage gear, and then they rolled her into like Dragon 20, and they're like, oh, she doesn't one-shot the mob, so she's trash. And I'm just like, not really that kind of champion. You know, if you read her kit, that's not what she's supposed to be. She's not supposed to be doing damage. But I actually got her. She was one of my first fusions, I think, other than Drockel, that I finished. And she was a hard carry for me in Doom Tower early on because just her ability to affect duplicate champions. She's also got a little bit of buff strip and some other things in her kit that are pretty nice, the cooldown increase, things like that. But she wound up being a pretty good champion. It's kind of like when everybody thought Versolf was going to be bad, and then it turns out Versolf is actually really, really good. Versolf has been another... he's been a hard carry on my free-to-play account here. He's allowed me to complete, you know, the last 2 rotations of Doom Tower just because he's so good in just the normal floors, and he's good on several of the bosses. So just a great kit overall. But you kind of have to keep in mind what future content might be coming to the game, and I think that's what we learned from the Elgato fusion was... Everybody was looking at her kit and like, well, what really would you use her for other than Faction Wars? And I remember reading that, and they had shown some of the Doom Tower stuff, and I'm like, well, we saw a lot of duplicate waves, a lot of different champions, waves with like 3 Sifis and stuff like that. You know, all the Dracos. It's like, so if you have a champion that can affect more than one copy of that specific enemy, you know, I knew that was going to be probably a good thing to have for Doom Tower. Obviously, like the in-game players, they're going to have such better gear and all the champions. So for them, the fusions are probably like, it's kind of crap. But you kind of, as a middle game player, or if you're just starting out in the game, if it's something that you can go after, kind of have to look at it as, oh, you know, this might help my account at some point down the road. Maybe it's worth going after. So always do a little bit of analysis before you decide whether or not you're going to go after a fusion. I usually try not to advise people one way or the other because everybody's account is different in this game. And a champion that might not be any good for me, it might help your account out quite a bit. So I kind of just always say take an individual perspective of it, look at it, and basically decide, you know, is this going to help my account? Like this, the new fusion guy, his kit at first glance, it looks like he would be S tier, you know, for the Scarab King. So if you're having trouble with that boss in Doom Tower, if it's a roadblock for you, maybe it's worth going after this guy and picking him up. So there's a lot of stuff to take into account. You got to look at the resources on your account, you know, how you're, you know, what kind of gear do you have? Do you have time to build another champion? You know, things like that. So lots of stuff to consider there. All right, let's see what we got here. We got Faction War Boss. Tag team with a single faction. Okay, let's see. We can go in and do that real quick here. Let's see. Are there any? I tried fighting that team earlier, and it was absolutely terrible with these two purchases on the last round there. Let's get a refresh here. You got Arbiter, Morty Macabre. We're just going to do this to get this done, so let me remember how I did this here. Okay, let's just drop out Marquez, drop out Kymar, and then we'll bring in... Where's my Haikatoon? Somewhere... Oh, there she is. Okay. Sadly, I've never actually built out my Haikatoon on this account just because The same day I got her, like day 30, I pulled Gorgorab, so I was kind of like, oh, well, I guess he's going to become my arena lead instead. And so that kind of ruined that. I'll just do these on automatic. I hate 3v3 arenas, so especially on this account, it was hard enough on my main account developing all the different teams that I needed for it, let alone having to do it on 2 accounts, so I really didn't have much interest in that. We're definitely probably going to lose here. I have zero thoughts of winning any of these matches. I just wanted to do it to get the advanced quest done. It's probably, you know, just come in here and do that, do your 5 matches real quick, and get out. So at least they let you get the Drexstar shards from being in bronze, because I can tell you what, my main account's in like silver 3, and it's just it's just a slog. You know, you're in silver 3 and you're facing teams like with 1,000,000 team power. It's just crazy. See if we can get through Mortar without him doing peril on anybody here. Got our Mountain King with counterattacks. That usually helps us out quite a bit. All right, cool. So we actually got a victory. Not too bad. We'll take it. Let's see if we can buy anything here. Okay, we still got to wait to... these are actually kind of a good deal because you do get 10 shards for the 150. So we'll be able to build those pretty soon and then get Broad Maw, which is going to be pretty nice. But one thing I did notice in the arena is it seems like it's getting a lot tougher. I changed up my defense. I've kind of built this new team. We're still working on Versolf. I got to get him in some different gear. But we got Mountain King now with the counterattack. We got Bogoth in the shield. We got Melga for her revive. But when I first put them in, I was doing pretty well. We were getting a couple different victories on defense. But now we're just getting farmed. You can see here, everybody's just coming in here. I mean, we're getting hit with these, you know, 230k. 270. It's pretty crazy. 339. I mean, look at this double hegemon, double hegemon Trunda, Candrafon. I mean, some of the teams we're getting hit by now are just crazy. So we're kind of getting up, like I said, you know, we're getting up a little too high in the gold 4, where we can't really farm too much anymore. But I noticed even at the bottom levels of gold 4, it's getting pretty tough. I mean, you've got a hegemon. Most of these teams are pretty built with a pretty fast arbiter, so we're having to just pick off these solo arbiters when we find them. I mean, you got Siffy, Tormund. I mean, look at this. You got, you know, Warlord, Trunda, Riho again, Trunda. Look at these teams that are even like down in the middle of the pack. Double Hegemon again. It's just, and Lydia, Foley, Hegemon. So, you know, just to get a refresh here, and, you know, some of these teams might be doable, but I mean, that's the thing. It's like every page you're getting just really tough teams to fight against. So, we already did our 5 matches today, so we're not going to really mess with any of that. But I did notice that it seems like Arena is sort of resetting back to where it was before we were getting all those bot accounts that were up in Gold 4. So hopefully you guys aren't noticing the same, but I've definitely been noticing that it's getting a lot more difficult. On this account at least. My main account, it's no big deal. I've got a pretty solid attack team and pretty good defense built there where I can just farm all week, but it's definitely getting tougher on the free-to-play. Let's see, do we have any clan boss keys? We have 1 key. And I think we're going to have to do Nightmare. Or did we already... Nope, there we are. So we're at 32.4. So we're going to have to do 1 more key on Nightmare. It is forced today, which is usually rough for us. But we'll still be able to get the top chest. So we got Rosin pretty much in a good spot. The gear on him is not amazing. But I was at least able to get his accuracy above, you know, 220. His speed's okay. Decent defense, and his HP, you know, we could definitely get that a little bit higher, and the crit rate, you know, so it's always like everything else, it's kind of a work in progress. But for just pulling him and, you know, kind of just trying to get him into a set for clan boss, he's doing okay. His damage is a little underwhelming right now just because we don't have books on him yet. That's the spot, like I mentioned earlier with Sissio. Like, we really just struggle on this account with having the books for legendary champions. So you gotta really pick and choose, you know, who you put those books into. I think I put most of my legendary books into Syl and Kymar, and maybe Mountain King when I first, because I pulled Mountain King very early on the account, so I was able to kind of invest in him. But you know, it's the thing, you got to really watch when you're on an account like this. It's pretty tough. We're still not really speed tuned either. You know, we're kind of still working on the team's gear. I managed to get Jareg a little bit more sturdy, but he's going to struggle here against Force. We've got Fark on the Fat, who we still have to figure out how to get into this team somehow. But, you know, it's always a work in progress. The gear, definitely we need some better lifesteal gear. We don't really have the best lifesteal gear. And next time the Doom Tower switches over, I think it's the Eternal Dragon that drops the better lifesteal that has the crit rate. I'd like to try to get through and farm that dragon a little bit more. And that's actually one of the rotations we're able to complete fully, so hopefully we can get that and be able to get some of that gear, because that's actually nice. Gives you that crit damage or the crit percent, crit chance bonus in addition to the lifesteal effect. So that's maybe what we'll try to do next time Doom Tower switches over. But, you know, Rosin does a decent job. He's a pretty solid champion. I use him on my main account whenever I'm running like Brutal Clan Boss or testing out champions in general. I basically have this same team on my main account. I use the same. They're a lot better built than they are here because they can pretty much easily 2-key Nightmare, no matter the affinity on that account. But I've got them all, you know, with a lot better gear than I have here. But once we get Rosin built out, you know, get him to where he's 100% crit rate, a little bit more crit damage, get his defense up. You know, get some books in him too. That's going to be another thing. He'll be pretty solid for us. And we do have him in Giant Slayer because he has the 3 hits. I think he's in Giant. I hope he. I may have put him in War Master. I can't remember. I'm struggling to recall, but I remember somebody did a pretty extensive thread on Reddit about basically, even with some of your 2 and 3 hit champ A1s, you kind of just want to go with War Master to get the consistency. I think the research they had done was pretty extensive, and it wound up like Cold Heart was the only champion you would want to take Giant Slayer on in most cases. Maybe Ethel. But with Cold Heart, most of the time you're going to want to put her into Helm Smasher anyways. So it was an interesting thread. I'm trying to remember when I read that. But yeah, they were basically saying that over the long run, the consistency was basically just go with War Master. And I think maybe we did do that with Rosin, because I'm noticing he's only getting 1 extra hit on most of these attacks. All right, so about 11 million. We're going to have enough to, obviously, to get the top chest on Nightmare. And then we'll probably just throw a key in Brutal. At least get two chests out of that. We usually do finish Brutal as a clan, so the rewards in Brutal aren't great, but at least it's extra stuff. You know, you want to get to a point where you're hopefully hitting at least 2 clan bosses every day, so that you're getting, you know, multiple chests. So if we can get 3 or 4 chests every day, you know, it's pretty good. Eventually, you're going to start, you know, you'll get lucky and get a couple nice drops. It's obviously where we get most of our void shards from. And every so often, we get really lucky and get a sacred, but it's very few and far between. But once we can move up to Ultra Nightmare, hopefully that will change, and we'll be able to start farming a lot more shards. But my team can survive. That's kind of the thing. Like, they survive quite a while. It's just the damage is not... The gear does not have a lot of damage potential. So that's why we really have to get Rosin into some better stuff so he can start churning out some damage. So right now it's mainly all Frozen Banshee just doing her thing. I'm honestly shocked that she survived this long against Force. But that's kind of the good thing about having the ally protection. But yeah, I see there, if you have a magic champ against Force, you're basically just going to get 1 shot once that stun runs around. So Frozen Banshee will probably take the next stun, which means she'll be gone. But, you know, it's not a bad key. I remember when I could barely get 13 million on Force, so, you know, it's like progression, just like everything else. Kind of wish Aox would have healed himself there, but he's probably gonna, yeah, he's gonna go down here anyways. See if Rosin and Skull Crusher. Well, we got us to 18. Not too bad. 20 is kind of the magic number I'd like to hit on Force, because we can 2-key Magic and Spirit. We just can't 2-key Force. Force is the tough one for us. Alright, so not bad. Rosin did 3.8. Aox with 4.8. Pretty good there. And then, of course, Frozen Banshee, regardless of affinity, is usually going to be our best, highest damage there. But not a bad key. We'll take it. That'll get us up there. We'll at least get the 3 key today. Ultra Nightmare's Force, we're definitely not even going to try that. Brutal, we may just drop a key into Brutal. We can usually 1-key Brutal, so this, you can see you can get Void Shards in Brutal. It's very, very low chance. You can at least get some epic books, so always make sure you're getting your keys in, even if you're not going to get the top chest. At least that way you can make sure you get yourself some rewards. It's always kind of nice, but we can kind of jump in here and take a look. You can see Rosin here. We got some 6-star pieces on him, but it's just, we need better substats. We also can still roll up all of his accessories here. We got a chance to get some good rolls there. But this is kind of why we also need to get into Spider. You can see here, we are pretty sparse on accessories. I got some stuff here we got from the clan shop for Banner Lords. I haven't even really looked at any of this stuff yet. We didn't really get, we got speed there, but didn't get any speed on that one. So, need to get into Spider, start farming up some accessories, and hopefully get some better stuff. But we're right at about 30 minutes, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the episode for tonight. As always, if you guys have any questions about anything in the episode, feel free to let me know down below. As always, hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.